Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Overwatch League fan thoughts and analysis. Today, I want to cover one, I just want to talk about the Stage 1 playoffs for a little bit, but two, I want to look ahead at Stage 2, look at the things that we're getting differently in Stage 2, the new map pool, patch changes, all that kind of stuff, and how I think it will affect the meta as a whole. So, first, let's just talk about, of course, Stage 1 playoffs. My bracket, of course, did not survive. It was also I have some issues with the way they do the playoffs, so my bracket is just bad. Um, it would never be like this, of course, because of the way that it works. Uh, is based on reseeding after the first round, which I think is absolutely stupid. I think that's a horrible way to do playoffs because you're just rewarding the top team and you're making upsets essentially worthless. Because then you just have to play a really good team, a better team, basically the next round, unless you beat the number one seed. So if you upset, you're guaranteed to play a better team the next round, and I think it's well not guaranteed, almost guaranteed to play a better team the next round. I think it's stupid, but obviously I picked NYXL to win. They didn't. They lost the first round to the Seoul Dynasty, which is kind of a bittersweet thing for me because obviously I'm a New York Excelsior fan. I picked New York Excelsior to win. I would have liked to see them win, but at the same time, I'm a big pro Seoul player. I think a lot of people have been talking down on Seoul, calling Seoul a really bad team, but I don't really think they're that bad. So I think this is a good win for them. It kind of shows that hey, we're not this really bad team that the analysts and the league as a whole have been leading you to think we are. We're actually a very solid team with solid foundations and a very, 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 very good team. Um, and I think that this is finally the win that they had that shows that they are not a bad team and that they're actually a very solid team. So I'm excited to see how Seoul plays going forward, and I will be very, very, very interested to see what we get with stage two and how the changes to stage two will impact all of these teams, but I really want to see what this whole dynasty can do of all the teams mid the playoffs. But obviously, the Stage 1 finals came down between the Vancouver Titans and the San Francisco Shock. Probably the best series of Overwatch that I have ever seen. It was incredible, and I really, really, really hope you watch it if you haven't seen it. I know it's a long series, obviously, with the distance, with 7 maps, with the Vancouver Titans, of course, being the team coming out on top. But it was a very, very, very incredible series. It was really good. So I highly recommend you watch that if you haven't. I know it's long, but it's really exciting to watch. But let's move on. Let's move past stage one. Stage one is over. Let's take a look at what's coming in stage two. So the biggest thing, of course, is that it's the new patch. It's the current patch that's live, 1.34. So that, of course, features Baptiste, who will be live for the Overwatch League. He will be playable in the Overwatch League. I'm really excited to see how he's used. I don't really expect him to be used that much. Um, I just think that the chances of him being heavily used are kind of low. That it just doesn't really seem all that likely to me, but maybe it is. Who knows? Um, he's a very interesting hero, of course, but meta wise, I don't really see him being a huge part of the meta, just because he's one. I mean, I think he'll get some. He will get played somewhat often, I think, right away because he's a new hero and people are going to kind of come up with weird strats with him just to kind of try him out. But overall, I don't think he's going to last very long in terms of the staple hero. I still think that we're going to be seeing Zenyatta. I still think we're going to be seeing, Lucio, maybe, uh, Brig, there's a lot of people that I think are going to see goats as still being a prominent meta. I don't know fully, um, because there were some changes I think will impact that. We'll talk about that in a second here. But Baptiste, I think, has been the most interesting thing to look out for. I think good Ana players will be fun to see play Baptiste. Maybe good Zenyatta players as well. So, Jae Hong, Jonak, um, Twilight. Those are the kind of players that I'm excited to see potentially take on Baptiste. But I feel like he's also a main support player. So maybe you have players like Neptuno, players like Animo if they try him out. Or maybe even you have to have DPS players playing him, depending on how you want to run him. So it'll be an interesting hero to watch. And I'm excited. But of course, there's also the 1.34 patch, which did more than just add Baptiste. It had a bunch of hero changes to it. The biggest one is, of course, the Lucio speed boost nerf, where he now doesn't speed up his teammates as much as he did previously. You also, of course, have Zarya's change to her right click. Sombra's hack had that change. So there's some changes to it that are really, really, interesting. I think the Lucio change is probably the one that has the best chance of hurting goats. Um, you have the armor tweaks where now all the beam type attacks are only reduced by 20% across the board. So that's stuff for like it's like May's primary fire, Moira's alternate fire and coalescence, Symmetra's primary fire and the turret, Winston's primary fire, Zarya's primary fire. All those are now just 20%, while the damage over time effects aren't mitigated at all. So Ana's primary fire, Ash's dynamite, Hanzo's dragon strike, May's blizzard, Moira's biotic orb, Widowmaker's venom mine, Zarya's graviton surge. Those are all now going to do damage that is not mitigated by armor at all. And it's wild. It is wild to see the amount of damage that some of these things will be able to rack up when you have a team playing together, and it's going to be very, very fun to watch. Um, I don't really know if many of the other hero changes will be the biggest changes to what's going on. The Orisa change, I think, is going to be somewhat decent, where she moves faster now and she shoots. I think the Sombra hack change, that the cooldown is reduced by half when hacking health packs, is pretty good. The Widowmaker one will be interesting to see, just because it makes it makes that Widow duel when both teams pop their Infrasight mean something. And the Wrecking Ball, I think, will be really, really used with the changes to the Adaptive Shield. That no longer cancels his roll. And then the Zenyatta's changes, where the Orb of Discord effect got reduced, but the Orb of Destruction does more damage. That'd be an interesting one to see as well. To see how he's affected by, for players like Jonak and whatnot. So it'll be an interesting patch to see. If Goats is still around is kind of my question of, I don't know, maybe it's not going to be as effective because of the Lucio nerf. But also, it's also not going to be as effective because armor is in some ways nerfed. In some ways, it's kind of buffed because there's inconsistencies with the beam damages across the board. So now it's like it's fixed 20%. I don't know what it was before. I don't know if some of them were I feel like they said most of them actually took less damage because of it. Now it's uniform 20%, which I think makes it stronger now against armor. So maybe armor just in general just got nerfed, which I think is nice for trying to hurt goats, but who knows at this point in time. I'm really, really curious to see what the meta will be. So I think goats is not fully dead, but I think we'll see less and less of it. But to me, there's still nothing that really will kill goats. And I think a lot of people are saying that we're moving into a DPS heavy meta. I hope we move into a DPS heavy meta, or at least just a 2-2-2 meta more so than we have, because I think that would be really good for the game, especially for some of these players that we haven't seen yet this season. We haven't seen Pine, we haven't seen Flower. We haven't seen Snillo for the Philadelphia Fusion. I don't expect to see him a lot anyway, but we haven't seen him. We just haven't seen some players play their good heroes. We haven't really seen a lot of Hacksaw Genji. Haven't seen a lot of Shadowburn Genji. We haven't got to see Libero on Pharah really all that often, or Libero on whatever other hero he wants to play. So there's just a lot of heroes we haven't really gotten to see because of goats, and I'm hoping we at least get to see some of those. Obviously, we won't be seeing Defran because he has retired from the league, so we won't get to see him playing on anything. But it'll be cool to see how the league changes and evolves. So yes, if you didn't hear, Defran is retiring from the league. I can't really say I'm surprised. I was surprised that he did an entire stage. I really didn't think he would make it through more than one stage. He just, it's a very different thing for Defran. Defran doesn't really seem like the player who would want to keep consistently playing in the Overwatch League. I just don't think that's his big thing, but I thought his stage was really good. He had give us a nice play, so shout out to Defran just for being Defran. The next big thing, of course, is the map pool changing. And with the map pool changing, so some of the maps, of course, are staying. The order of the maps is also changing. So in stage 1, you had Control, followed by Hybrid, followed by Assault, followed by Escort. Now it will be Control, followed by Assault, followed by Hybrid, followed by Escort. So they just switched Assault and Hybrid. So in Control, we have Lijiang Tower, Oasis, and Busan. Busan was in stage 1, so it will remain. Lijiang Tower and Oasis were not. Instead, it was Ilios and what was it? Ilios and I think I can't remember. Nepal, Ilios and Nepal. On Assault, we have Paris, Temple of Anubis, and Hanamura. Temple of Anubis was in stage 1. So Paris, the new map, in general, is now going to be playable, which is going to be fun to watch, and Hanamura, now playable as well. So we get Paris and Baptiste in stage 2, which is going to be crazy. I don't remember the other Assault maps were. I know one was Volskaya, the other one, Horizon Lunar Colony. That was it. I'm getting there. For Hybrid, we have Blizzard World, we have Eichenwald, and we have King's Row. With King's Row returning, it was not in stage 1. Blizzard World and Eichenwald are replacing Numbani and what's the other one? I can't remember the other one. I'm not even going to try to remember the other one. And then with Escort, we have Junkertown, Watchpoint Gibraltar, and Rialto, with Rialto remaining, and Junkertown and Watchpoint Gibraltar coming in to replace Route 66 and Dorado. So I'm just forgetting a hybrid map. I'm really ashamed of myself that I can't think of the last hybrid map. I know I said Numbani, but I don't remember the other one, which is embarrassing. I'll just look it up. But with this new map pool, I'm really excited to see one, Paris. Paris, one I'm most excited for. It is the map that I think is the most interesting of the new maps. Hollywood, that was it. It was Hollywood. Aha, I always forget about Hollywood. But yeah, no, Paris is the map I think is most interesting to see. It's a new map. It's a very different map. It's a very unique map. The first point is very interesting with the way it just backs up right to the river, so you can just knock people off the point into the water or whatever. It'll be a very fun map to watch. I'm excited to see it because it's one of my favorite maps to play, honestly. I think it's a really fun map, so I'm excited to see how teams play it and how it gets utilized and what kind of things we see from players on Paris. I think it'll be really cool to see. Blizzard World and Junkertown coming back. I know they are two maps that last season people had problems with. And we keep Rialto, which I actually really like Rialto. I know everyone complains that it's very defender heavy and defender favored, and it is kind of. But I feel like as the stage progressed, we saw more and more and more teams get to the end of Rialto, or at least get close to the end of Rialto. I feel like more and more teams just at least got to the third, close to the third checkpoint. it's very hard, I think, to say that it's a very defender heavy team when, as the stage progressed, we saw more and more teams get to the. I mean, San Francisco and Vancouver both finished the map. New York and Seoul, when they played, neither team finished, but they got very close. Um, so it's a big map pool. I think it's gonna be a really fun map pool to watch. I think the changing of the order is really good, just because their reasoning for it was that the series could sometimes be decided halfway in between an assault map, and they said draws on assault maps are a lot more common than draws on a hybrid map. So this way, it's just easier, um, because there's just less of a chance of a series being decided partway through the third map. So this way, it can be decided partway through the third map. You can still have a draw on a hybrid map. Really, the only way to really prevent a draw from deciding the series halfway between a map would be putting escort third, um, or us, or assault or hybrid last. Either one of those two options. That's the only really way you can keep it that way. But I like this map order actually the best, because I feel like it works well together, because you have control, then into assault. And control is the most unique mode because there's nothing else in the game that's similar to capturing a point and holding the point, and the other team has to keep coming to try to take the point. That's not really common like any other game mode, but in a way, the one that it would be most similar to is assault, where one team is trying to capture a static point and then capture another static point, while one team is trying to keep them from doing that. So you kind of have a progressive mode now that I think just works better for just understanding the game. If you've never played it, you kind of can watch it and how it changes in general. But yeah, we excited for this map pool. They also, of course, changed the predicted running time for each game, because they thought it would take about 90 minutes when they really take about 105 minutes, which even 105 minutes might be a little generous there. So they have put on the schedules now that that's how long they're going to take, which is, like I said, possibly even a little generous there. They're also adding some additional tiebreakers to minimize the odds of a tie for seeding in the stage and regular season playoffs. And they haven't announced anything about those yet. I assume they'll wait until we get to closer to the end of stage 2, if not during stage 2. Might even be before stage 2, who knows, but I'm excited to see what types of tiebreakers we get, because I thought those tiebreakers for the stage 1 playoffs were absolutely absurd. A coin flip and a non-streamed match. It's like, all right. That's really weird. But yeah, that's kind of what I expect in stage 2. That's what we are getting in stage 2. My thoughts on what we're getting in stage 2. My hope overall is just that we get to see a lot more of these DPS players play their heroes that they're really good at. We get to see some more Carpe Widowmaker. We get to see some more EQO on anything that he plays, because he plays a lot of really great heroes really well. We get to see some more Saviolbe on Tracer. We get to see some more Pine playing McCree or Widowmaker. We get to see Surefour playing Widowmaker. We get to see Soon playing Widowmaker, Shadowburn playing Genji, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of really, really great heroes that aren't really getting played in this GOATS meta. I'm really hoping that GOATS does not continue to be the meta in stage 2, but I still think it will be a very dominant meta. But we will have to see how it fully goes when the stage kicks off on April 4th. But until then, I'm going to get out of here. If you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing. If you would like more content like this in the future, it really helps out. And let me know down below your thoughts on any of the map pool changes. How you think Baptiste or the meta will be, affected by Baptiste, or the new meta, patch changes, all that kind of stuff. I'd love to hear from you down below. But I'm going to get out of here. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.